everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for our skills broadcast. Just going to get this. There we go. That's a bit better. But before we do that, a couple of quick housekeeping items. Number one, if you're new to the broadcast, welcome. We do 3 broadcasts a week. This one at Friday lunchtime, which we call our skills broadcast because we try and learn something. And then we do one on Friday evening, and that is our laughter one. And then we do another one on Sunday afternoons, which is our Soul Sunday. It's almost like a meditation. So those are the 3 broadcasts we do every week, and they are great fun. All of them, we are an extended family of choice, if you like, a group of people who get together on a regular basis and continue to grow. All right, so before we get on to the subject as well, hi Jody, before we get on to the subject, just a couple of quick updates on the hydroponic growing. Jody, this is the original butter lettuce, the one you've been watching. And again, I want you to see that the little leaves are beginning to grow. Don't know if you can see that. And I'm not sure how long it will take. So I've had 3 cuttings of this, and you know, it's still looking great. The other thing is I now have that one plus 2 others growing. I want to see how many do I need to have so that I can self-sustain. The reason I want to find that out is because that's the number I will need during the winter, necessarily. All right, and so it's an interesting, I think I'm probably going to need 1 a day from my, you know, in other words, I probably eat salad about 5 days a week, so I probably need at least 5 of them going at the same time. That's my belief. The other thing is, for those of you who love to see this, you know, if you just take your green onions and put them in water, they will just continue to grow. If you cut them, you've got a choice. You can cut them off here, fine chop them, and just put that in the fridge, and they will fridge dry. They'll stay green and they'll be great. Or you can just keep chopping off the top as you need them. I use onions quite a bit. So this is what I thought some of you might like. I'm going to be doing this now because I'd like color coordination in my window box there. But this I literally took 2 plastic mugs and put some holes in the bottom, and now there is no earth in here. I've filled it up so that there was about this much water on the second one, and then as the water went down, so did the roots. All right, and so now they are, oh, by the way, at the bottom there, you can see I put 1 little section of an egg cup just to, you know, keep it floating. Anyway, so I thought I'd show you that. They do look great, don't they, Nyasha? So I just wanted to show you 2 ways of doing it. This is one way, and that is another. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the blame game. Do any of you ever blame people or things for rather than be accountable? The chances are, if you're human, the answer is going to be yes. Let me give you an example. Today, I got here on time, but only just. And the reason that it was only just is because, well, let me think. I could say that it's because I didn't get up early enough, which would be accountable. But then I asked myself, why didn't I get up early enough? And that was because I went to bed too late, accountable. Why did I go to bed too late? Because I found a new game that I was playing that totally absorbed me, a word game that I have found that just is, really absorbs me. And, why did I play that until all hours of the morning? Well, because I can, you know. And so the truth is, I can blame people, but what I want you all to see is that is not emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is, I did not go to bed early enough to get a full night's sleep to be here on time. Do you understand the difference of that? So what I've learned to do is to keep asking myself, why? Oh, Nyasha's saying, I do that a lot. Yeah, that's very honest of you, Nyasha. And so the thing is that I want you to see how many levels the excuses go, because that's interesting. So what I've done is I've put together, and let me just get that for you. I've put together a series of questions to demonstrate this. So hopefully, as a reminder, we will all be better at it. When I say better at it, better at not giving the excuses. I just need to get the link. Just hold on 1 second, people. I'm having difficulty chewing gum and thinking at the same time. So I need... I see. I could do this. I'm one screen away from where I need to be. No, 2 screens, I think. Just bear with me a second, please. While I'm doing that, I want to make sure there we go. I want to make sure that you all are aware to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and also to subscribe here on YouTube, and to press the little bell thing. And when you press the bell thing, it's going to ask you about notifications. Do you want all of them? And the answer is yes. Do all notifications, because that will tell you when I'm about to do a broadcast, if I happen to pop in an extra one or something. All right, so Nyasha's saying, I realize that I am very honest nowadays. Never happened before, and I like it. Yes, I think as you grow emotionally, you start to tell the truth more. Has anybody else found that? That as you are growing with these lessons, that you don't cover up as much. You actually tell it like it is. Obviously, the thing is, you don't want to tell the truth and hurt people. That's not the idea of this. But it's a case of being accountable for our own behavior, right? That is the difference. And I think you will find, as you learn these things, and by the way, some of us took a lifetime to learn them. As you learn these things, the freedom of it is a lot better. And I find myself correcting myself along the way. I don't know if any of you find that, where I'll say, oh yeah, but it was da-da-da-da, and I'll say, whoa, stop a minute. I just realized I tried to blame somebody for something that I did. The truth is, I didn't do this. Nyasha, you're saying that you're scared of your actions now. Understand that you are responsible for your actions. So you don't be scared of them, be aware of them, and keep them under control. All right? Suddenly throwing a hissy fit and throwing things or dropping things or whatever it is that you're doing, that is on you. You can't blame, well, somebody made me mad enough that I did that. No, Nyasha, you've been around long enough now that I can look you in the face and say, if you threw something or dropped something or, did stamped your foot or did whatever, that is your lack of control. So give yourself a big hug, right? Give yourself a big hug and keep working at it. I was talking to Becca last night about something, and I said, remember WIP, all right? Work in progress. You are a work in progress, Nyasha. So if you behave badly, you need to stand up and say, I'm sorry, I behaved badly, but not follow it up with, because you did this, this, and this. No. You will know that you have got this when you can turn around and say, I'm sorry I behaved badly, I lost control. And for that, I apologize. End of story. All right, Jody is saying, yes, I have noticed that. The awareness is such a valuable lesson, and it continues to teach me so much about myself. Yeah. And that is the whole point that I want to keep making. Before we get on to the main part of this, as this is all about helping you cope with love, life, and other problems, I want to give you the scam of the week that we found. There was a text message that came through to somebody in the States, and I think it might have been Jody. But what it said was, the US Department of Health and Human Services, Matthew, please take this mandatory online COVID-19 preparation test. But it then gave a link. I need you, whatever comes to you, read the link. All right? Read the link, don't touch the link. The reason you need to read the link is because that is 9 times out of 10 your key that this is a scam. For example, on this one, this is called, the link on this was a4ecn.info, and then, an alphabet soup. You see, if that had come from the US Department of Health and Human Services, guess what the link would be, all right? And so what I would do, if you look at it and you go, I wonder if that's for real, go immediately and Google whatever the link is. Yeah, it was Jody. And by the way, this one, if you'd been stupid enough to click on it, you would have downloaded malware. Thank you, Jody. So we want to keep making you aware of what we see. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she does a great job of feeding me the scams that she sees during the week. And if any of you see a scam or something you think is a scam, feel free to send it to me. The same as if you would like a topic that you would like me to talk about, just send it to me at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. I'll have a look at it. If I think it is something that is relevant to the group, I will definitely, put it on the list of things to cover. So today we are really talking about owning our own stuff. By the way, Nyasha, are you okay? I gave you a pretty straight up answer there, and I just want to send you a hug. Yes, but Nyasha, it's interesting, Nyasha's saying the link would probably have a domain name, probably .gov at the end. Yes, but even then, some of these scammers put .gov in the link, but it's not if you continue reading the rest of the link, it's not a legitimate one. They just put .gov within the link to make you think that it's good. But good point, Nyasha. So what we're going to talk about today is owning our own stuff. This is not about what anybody else is doing. This is about, are you emotionally aware enough to own your own stuff? And the key to that is, what excuses are you giving? And obviously the second part of that is, who are you blaming for your actions? So I want you to understand that we all do it. All right. And sometimes it's legitimate. If you literally were driving somewhere and you were in an accident and you ended up late, it is true that the reason you are late is because you were in a mine, or you were delayed by an accident. That is fact. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about, why was I late today or running late today? It's because of my own actions. All right. And that's the end of the story. Isabel saying, I think when I go back to work, a lot of things will change. I've learned a lot. I will make sure that I will tell right away when I don't like something. Yeah. And I will teach a certain person how to treat me. Yay, Isabel. Thanks for the learning. It's easy to say, but I think I will be able to do it. Yeah. And if you don't get it right the first time, as as Nyasha's finding out, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. You are a work in progress. And Nyasha's saying, I am. It's all right. My parents do tell me the worst. So yeah, I'm all right. The difference between them is I'm learning much more in my life from a short time with this broadcast rather than living with them for how many years. Well, something though, Nyasha, the reason you're learning is because you keep coming back. All right. So many people just don't want to learn. All right. And don't want to take accountability. And that's why I love this group of people, because the whole reason you keep coming back is you are prepared to learn, and you are prepared to learn the fact that maybe, you own some of this stuff. Oh, by the way, my tip for the week, for those of you on a very tight budget, and I don't know how many of you are, but I found something out by accident, where most of my experiments are accidents, aren't they? But when I have finished putting on my eye makeup, I clean my brush, and that is what is left after cleaning my brush. Now, what I do is I just leave that on my countertop, and between now and tomorrow morning, it will dry. And tomorrow, guess what's left? Just the powder. And so tomorrow I will be able to do the same thing. And so this little bit I don't know how long it'll last me, but does that make sense? It's just like, and if you're worried about, I know some people talk about, well, what about the hygiene effect? Drop a little bit of rubbing alcohol or something in it. It will still evaporate off, but you will have disinfected it. So just a thought. I am actually amazed. I use this during the week, without even thinking now. And, it's just, and by the way, I have two different ones. This one is with what I call the gray mix. And then I've got another one that's more of a taupe mix. And because the one has a more red base in it. And so anyway, I just thought I'd show that to you. No charge. So here's the definition of an excuse, all right? Excuses are invented reasons we create to defend our behavior, to postpone taking action, or simply as a mean of neglecting responsibility. Anybody got any favorite excuses? If so, let's hear them. Don't feel embarrassed about them, because we all use them. But let's just get some out there so that we can we can talk about them, all right? Excuses, by the way, are linked to fear. I'm pretty sure you know that, but let's just make sure. We give an excuse because we have fear of either failure, embarrassment, fear of success, fear of change, fear of uncertainty, fear of responsibility, fear of making mistakes, and fear of a perceived lack of confidence or resources. You see, it's all about a fear. And when you can see that, then each time you give an excuse, even if you have to replay it later, you can go, wait a minute. I gave an excuse there. What was my fear? My fear was that I would have to tell the truth, and that would be embarrassing for me. All right. And when you can start processing that way, you are one step away from the old you and closer to full emotional intelligence, when you don't need to. By the way, you do understand that you don't need to give an excuse. We had a situation here recently where there was something happened and the person said, well, why? And I said, I don't believe I need to answer that question. All right. I didn't want to make the situation worse by giving the reason why I made that decision. And therefore, the truth is this is my platform and my broadcast. Therefore, I get to choose what I do. Yes, Isabel, thank you so much. That is, Isabel is saying, and I quote, "I don't feel good. Prevents me from doing so many things. My nickname could be fear." The Isabel, but you can own it now. You see, that's the difference. You own it now. Before, I don't think you realized it as much, right? But now, I used to use that a lot as well, especially if I didn't want to go to something. I would say yes, and then I wouldn't want to do it. And then I would say, "I'm sorry, I'm sick. I don't feel good," whatever. Because I didn't have the ability to tell the truth, which is, I'm not coming because I don't want to. And so that is a pretty interesting thing, that the truth of that is, you are not important enough to me, that I will overcome my temporary feeling and go anyway. Isn't that interesting? Anybody else got any? Just so Isabel's not left out there hanging. Blame. The definition of blame. People blame others because of the following reasons: a loss of control. Some people panic when they lose control of a situation, and so they try to restore a sense of being in control by blaming others. Controlling you, right? That's what it is. You need to get back control of others who are controlling you. Some people try to control others by blaming them and making them feel that they are bad. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a abusive relationship, but one of the key factors that you will find coming up in an abusive relationship is they will keep blaming you for stuff, and making you think you are less than or whatever. And, it's really important that we know that is their stuff, not yours. All right? When they want to blame you for things, that is their stuff. Let it go. Jody's saying, "I forgot." That's a good excuse, right? I forgot, for example, to test my blood sugar. I do forget, but why? There has to be a deeper reason. I may be avoiding the results subconsciously. Maybe. Whenever you use the word maybe, Jody, I want you to think red flag. Why did I say maybe? When the truth is, it is true. All right? Nyasha is saying, "Mama Sal, if I apologize for my actions towards my parents, won't that give them the idea that they can take advantage of me again? Because so far, okay, I'm just going to wait for the rest of that sentence because it's not making sense to me at the moment. Just hold, as soon as she gives me the rest of that, I will put it together. All right, so Isabel is supporting Jody about why did she forget to take the blood sugar? And Isabel is saying, "You're avoiding the results." Yes, I do it too, Jody. Well, okay, you two, I've got to ask you a very straight question, because I also take blood sugar every day, and I take it every day. And you know why? If I don't put the bad ones in, I don't have a proper idea of what my blood sugar really is. If I selectively don't bother to take it on the days when I know I've screwed up, you understand what I'm doing to myself. I am living a lie. This is not the real figure. This is the figure of the good days. That is dangerous. So live with the truth, right? Both Jody and Isabel, do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So this is the truth will set you free because it is the truth. All right. So, Jody, I had a couple of days this week where I was up into 7 point something. Okay, whatever that translates to in American, but it was higher than I want, and my average is 7 at the moment, which is higher than I want. I'm going to need to do at least a week of 6.5s to be able to start bringing that figure down. So what I look at, Jody, is what if I had lied about that? I wouldn't know that I was that far off control. Okay, so I'm just reading the ashes now. Hang on a second. Oh, so she's saying that she actually is getting a step forward. Her mum doesn't come into her room anymore. All right, so Nyasha, one step at a time, all right? You did tell the truth to your mom and she stopped coming into your room. You set a boundary. Or are you saying, if I don't tell her the truth, she will start coming back in again? It is her room. You know what I mean? As long as you live at home, there is a big question mark. And for those of you who are parents, and understand Nyasha is an adult in living in her parents' home. She's not a child, she's an adult. And so to me, it's a case of that is one of the unfortunate things about living in your parents' home is they own the rooms, right? You don't. You you're allowed to live in them, but you don't own them. You don't pay, the mortgage or the rates and taxes or whatever. So therefore, their rules apply most of the time. However, you can say, as a 30-something-year-old adult, I need to say it's really uncomfortable for me that you come in without knocking or without just checking whether, I am dressed or whatever. It's really embarrassing to me and I get scared. So I wonder if I could ask you to please have a little respect and at least knock and tell me that you want to come in and give me a chance to, to be aware. So find a better way of saying it and we'll keep working on it, Nyasha. You're doing great, honey. Hi, Chip. Good to see you. So we all do these things, right? It's not just Nyasha or Jody or Isabel or myself. So what I've done is I've taken a few obvious excuses, and then I want us to discuss the truth of it, right? So I didn't have enough time. Is that true? When you give the excuse, I didn't have enough time, what is the truth? What is the truth of that statement? Let's see what answers we get here. I'm sorry I didn't do A, B, and C. I didn't have enough time. Is anybody typing? Yes, Isabel, you didn't make enough time for it. Yes. You didn't make enough time. Did you have enough time to brush your teeth today? Did you have enough time to get dressed today? Did you, think of all the things you made time for. And so therefore, it's not that you didn't have time, it's that you didn't use the time that you have to include it. All right, so I would like you all, to rethink that excuse, all right? Be aware. Just all I'm asking is remember to be aware. Jeannie, hi, Jeannie. Jeannie's saying perhaps it was unimportant. So I just didn't do it. Yes, it seemed important at the time, but the truth is it's not that important. I'm busy, work in progress in my bathroom. I'm trying to redo some silicone that's there. And, I've had it as a work in progress for a month. And I've started it, but, I'm doing it very, very slowly. Why? It's not critical to me, and I'm just doing it as I can. Good. All right, so here's Jodi's one. I forgot. Did you forget to brush your teeth? Did you forget to get dressed? Did you forget to do da 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 da? If not, what is the truth about I forgot? Now, I understand there are different truths on this one, depending on the situation. We've already had this situation about I didn't do my blood testing because I didn't want to see the result. That's fear-based, and we understand that. But also, do you understand that I forgot? The correction of it is, again, it wasn't that important to me, as Jeannie's saying. So is the blood sugar important, the truth about your blood sugar important enough to you to tell the truth? That is what my question is. Because you are not helping you or me or anybody else by telling the lie. We've got enough lies going on. You just have to turn the news on every day. And Jody just was reminding me that North Korea has apparently reported that it has no cases of COVID-19. Now, do any of you believe that? Right? Or, is it possible? And you're going, well, if nobody enters the country, is it possible? Because, getting into North Korea is very difficult. If nobody left the country, is it possible? All right, so Jeannie's saying York is having some trouble because he had a stroke. He almost took his pills twice, but I caught it. So, why, hang on a second, let me understand where that fits in, Jeannie. So the excuse is because he had a stroke? No, that's fact. So, okay, so Jeannie's saying when he forgets, I ask him to do what he forgot, so he will follow through. Okay, so you have become more than you've almost become a mother again, is what I'm hearing. So be a little bit, there's a fine line between that, Jeannie, right? Between helping him remember and nagging. So when I say that, just where it's safety concerned, that isn't nagging, that is really important. All right, so Jody is saying, yes, it's important. I've just been using that as an excuse, and I thought I'd given up all excuses. I slipped. Yeah, Jody, I saw it happening some time ago, but I just left it. Why? Because it's your life, and if you want to BS yourself, that is your right. All I know is that I kept on telling the truth as best I could. And, I know whenever I've gone over, you have been so supportive of me. So what is the fear? Who is it that you want to keep this truth from? So you see, Jody, this is a big, important thing for you to look at, right? Because I don't think it's because you think I'm going to judge you, because Jody and I share our figures every day. All right, so Isabel's saying, my numbers are always high, even if I do so many good things, and it's so discouraging to me, and to make my anxiety go up. No, it doesn't make your anxiety go up. You make your anxiety go up. So I avoid it intentionally. I'm not saying it's okay. So Isabel, do you understand? What you think is your anxiety, right? It's like If you get triggered by that figure, that is on you. It's not the figure that's to blame. It's your processing of that knowledge. Do you understand the difference, Isabel? Right. And Jeannie's saying, yeah, in terms of looking after York, yes, but I try to have the follow through as a good wife, not as a nag. That's interesting. I wonder how many people, and now Jeannie, take this with a grain of salt because this is not about you, this is about wives in general. I wonder how many wives in general say that they're not nagging, they're just being a good wife. You know, I'm thinking about that, you know, but I understand with a medical condition, that's a different scenario. But I can remember being a wife and yeah, I failed that one twice. All right. All right, so Nyasha's saying, what about I didn't mean to? Is it true? You didn't mean to not tidy your room. That's an excuse. You didn't make time for it is a better thing. I am sorry I didn't make time for it. So I think give me context here, Nyasha. If you're saying I am sorry, I dropped the plate or threw the plate or whatever it might be, I didn't mean to, that's not true. I lost control is the truth. All right. I could not control my anger is the truth. But I'm learning to do that better. And I apologize, you know, for whatever it is. So good, Nyasha, keep asking the questions because that's how you get the answers. All right, so Jody is now thinking about her blood sugar story. She's saying, I'm not sure. I fear no judgment from you at all. You are always supportive. Hiding from me because the number confirms that I've had some very off days with my nutrition. Oh, really, Jody? Really? And why is that, Jody? Let's hear why. Why have you had some really off days with your nutrition? There's a good reason. I put on 4 pounds, I think, or 3 or 4 pounds, and I've got lots of things I can blame for that. But what is the truth? The truth is, I stopped checking what I was eating every day. And, you know, shall I blame it on COVID-19? Let me do that, right? No. The reason I put on 4 pounds is because of what I put into my mouth. And the fact that I'm not doing as much exercise, you know, I can own that. By the way, the reason that I was having problems with my left hip, yes, it may be because I have some arthritis in there. But you know, the other truth is I haven't been exercising my hips enough. All right? That is the truth. I might be walking, but I'm not exercising my hips enough. So what I did is I thought about that and I thought, what can I do to do that? You know, if I went to a physiotherapist or something, what would they be doing to exercise my hips? And, you know, what I did was I took my total gym, I changed the angle of it, and now every other day I do squats. And I started off the first day, I really had trouble with it. I don't mind telling you. And what I have done now is I've got up to being able to do 50. Now, that probably doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I want to tell you something. That for me, I'm not noticing that I have as much problem with my hips since I've been doing that. So you understand the excuse covers the truth, and the truth is I haven't done enough to help myself. All right, so Jeannie's saying when we had troubles with my daughter, when she was 14 to 16, we went to a support group for over a year trying to find out how to deal with things. We stopped our excuses. Yes, great, Jeannie. We took a different way. Yes. But I think, I can remember, Jeannie, it's a story I tell a lot. I can remember my brother not acknowledging my birthday. And when I called him on it, he wrote back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot." All right. And what I wrote back is, just as a matter of interest, how many business appointments did you miss this week? Or this month? Or this year? Because if the answer is none, or only one or two or whatever, then the truth is the reason you didn't acknowledge my birthday is because it wasn't important to you. And I want to tell you, as your sister, that hurts. And he wrote back in defense, because, when you push somebody, they're going to push back. Well, birthdays aren't that important to me. And I wrote back and said, that is as maybe, but they are to me. And now if he continues to ignore it, then he can't say he doesn't know the rules, all right? And so the interesting thing is, he has acknowledged every birthday since then. Right, Jeannie. All right, so listen to this. Jeannie's saying they learned not to do the excuses for her daughter, and now her daughter does not acknowledge Mother's Day. And Jeannie's saying, I get over it. I always do this, and I get over it. Yeah, that's the price you paid. And the question is, it may take her a lifetime before she understands what you did, right? And she may never understand, Jeannie, but you're right, right? To keep covering. I wouldn't keep covering for my brother. And I can remember my mom saying to me one day, well, he's a busy man, I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, he runs a business. And I said, at the time, I have responsibility for 16 consumer magazines, and a budget of 30 million. And, I remember his birthday. Why? I keep track of it and I care about it. All right. So Nyasha's saying, I've been feeling guilty since the whole episode because I'm godmother who's supposed to not display such bad behaviors. She's a baby now. Yeah, we know that. So she doesn't know what I did, but I cannot continue exhibiting these behaviors. I choose not to. Nyasha, make it a choice. Not, I cannot because I have a godchild. It's about, I choose not to do this anymore. I choose to keep learning and practicing. All right? Because I don't want to show my goddaughter anger when I don't get my way. Yeah, and Jeannie's saying on May 9, her daughter will turn 39. Yeah, I don't think she's probably going to get it. But unless she does the work, if she does the work, as you guys have been doing, then she will get it. But at the moment, no. By the way, May 9 is also Manon's birthday, I believe. And if we've forgotten anybody else's that's coming up in the next week or two, just let us know. Isabel saying, let's ban the word excuses. That'll be something to work on. Yeah. I want to tell you, though, it is interesting how many of those lies we tell every day. Just be aware. This is a reminder. This is not about perfection. This is a reminder. All right, so Nyasha, you will be able to teach her because you will have had experience. All right? And the truth is, when you watch a child having a temper tantrum, the 9 times out of 10, they don't have the words to describe what's going on because they don't understand it. And I'd like you to think about temper tantrums being childlike, Nyasha. All right? All right, so listen to this. but I don't know how to control that much anger when somebody keeps constantly annoying me. Your job is, regardless of what's coming at you, is to put up the emotional barrier that stops it hurting you. It is their stuff. All right? Now, it may be true and we don't want to hear it, but even so, it's up to us to put that mental barrier, not to attack them, not to be violent in any way. The thing is the mental barrier that goes, the way to answer it, if they throw words at you and whatever, find an expression that works for you. You had a temper tantrum. Absolutely, Nyasha. Can you see that now? And the answer is, thank you for your opinion. If you are a useless, thank you for your opinion. I'm sorry to hear it, obviously, that you feel that way, but thank you for telling me your truth. I want to tell you, that is the best reply you can give them. And just walk away from it. Because then they have to own their stuff. Thank you for telling me your truth. Your truth is that you think I am useless. I am so sorry to hear that. And walk away. You'll be surprised how many times they will come and try and explain that one away. All right, so mostly what I do when she keeps coming at me is I cover my ears not to hear it. That's what a child does, Asha. All right? When you think about it, don't do that. Adults don't do that. You know what you might try and do? Is you might try and just put your hand out like this. Don't say anything, just put your hand out. You're saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're saying, I would like you to stop, please. And she goes, blah, 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 blah. This is hurting, Mom. Are you trying to hurt me? That's all I'm trying to find out. No! Thank you for your opinion. I am sorry that you feel that way. Do you understand the difference, Nyasha? I am sorry that you feel that way. It's their stuff, not yours. Now, you can go away and think, what did I do to create that? That would be emotionally intelligent. Was I in any way responsible? And you'll have lots of excuses why the answer is no, but we're not. Then I want you to look at the excuses. Okay? That's how we learn. How about I was late because the traffic was bad? What is the truth about that? You're late for work, or you're late for lunch, or you're late for, sorry, I'm late, the traffic was bad. What is the truth of that? Think about it. Now, some of my viewers are time people. Some people, being late to them is rude. So they will roll their eyes that anybody uses the expression, the traffic was bad, because, as Jody so rightly says, and I'm not surprised she came up with an answer immediately, I didn't plan well enough. Or I didn't leave early enough. But yes, you need to plan for traffic. And one of the things I learned being a professional speaker was I used to plan to be at the airport for an internal flight at least 2 hours before I needed to be. That was the plan. Why? Because I reckon that in any situation, to have that extra 2 hours to play with would probably make sure that I got on a flight. And it happened one day. My car broke down on the way to the airport. But because I had the 2-hour gap, I was able to get my car off the road, to phone somebody and tell them to get my dealership to come get the car. I managed to get a lift. I managed to organize a cab to pick me up from the lift and get to the airport and still catch the flight. Why? I planned emergency time. And, I'd like you, when you see people on the road, I mean, if you still drive, and they are acting like idiots, and cutting you off and doing, speeding and doing all those things, feel sadly for them because they have not learned how to plan their day yet. All right? Or think maybe they have a genuine emergency. Maybe somebody's dying and they need to get to the hospital in time. Don't presume it's just because they're an idiot. All right? That is my recommendation. All right. So Niash is saying about my comment, but won't saying thank you for the insults mean that I'm accepting whatever is being said? If they say I'm stupid, responding with thanks, maybe it means that I truly am. No, you list out what I said, Nyasha. Thank you for your opinion. Do you understand? I'm not saying it's right, it's truthful. I'm just saying thank you for giving me your opinion. You're doing great, Nyasha. Hi there, Sandy. Good to see you. All right. So thank you for your opinion does not mean I agree to it. I agree with it. Somebody, I mean, how many haters did I get, telling me that I am an old, crone or da-da-da. I go, thank you for your opinion. I have people write to me every now and then and totally rude to me. And I still answer them, and I actually write back and go, hey, thank you for taking the time to give me your opinion. I am amazed how many of them write back and say, I was pretty rude. I can't believe you actually answered me so politely. But you see, why would I give them traction? Why would I give them reason to hate me? I think I'm going, let me be the bigger person. Thank you for your opinion. And when you really think about it, do you want people to tell you the truth? I wonder, Nyasha, whether you want your parents to lie to you, And the answer probably is no. And so, as I've always said, when somebody criticizes you, thank them for your opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Go away and think about it. Go away and check, is there any truth in what they said? Any truth whatsoever? And if there is, what am I going to do about it? All right, so this is Isabel's one. I'm sorry I can't come. I'm not feeling well. All right, and we've talked to that one. The answer is, I really don't want to. How about this one? Do any of you know this excuse? I am too old, short, fat, thin, stupid, and put in whatever word you want. I am too old to start. So think about that. When somebody says, no, I'm too old to start doing that, what are they really saying? Think about that. Because it could be a lot of different reasons. And what I do now is when I hear somebody say that to me, there you go, Nyasha. Nyasha saying, okay, I'll work on my behavior a little more. That's the only thing you can control, honey. You cannot control them. You can only control yourself, and you can only control whether you make the situation worse or shut it down politely. Remember what I said, Nyasha, when somebody was going, well, why to me? I'm going, I don't believe I need to answer that question. That's my belief. Yeah, but I want to know. That's his maybe, but I don't believe I need to answer it. Jeannie's saying this kind of answers stops them short. Yes. You do not engage with them, you deflect. Absolutely. Then you stop living a full life. Yeah, if you constantly live in excuses, and if you're constantly being triggered by other people, that's on you. All right. It means you don't have your barriers up to deflect that. I can tell you that whenever somebody really insults me, Jeannie, and it happens, of course, I'm a YouTuber. When anybody ever insults me, I want to tell you, I look at it and I go, I have a choice here. One is to ignore the comment. But, I go, that's not who I am. I pride myself in the fact that I do answer people's comments, and I always have. I maybe get behind a bit every now and then, but I do try and answer everybody that writes to me or makes a comment. And, so therefore I can go, hey, thank you for your input. I appreciate it. Some people have said, quite horrible things, and I just go, gee, thank you. But what surprises me is how many have written back and said, I can't believe how polite you were about that when I was so rude. And I go, thank you for seeing that. And when you get to be my age, that'll make more sense. You'll find it easier, because it's like, I think that is, part of being more mature is you learn these things. So how many of you give that excuse? I'm too old, too short, too young. I'm hard of hearing. I don't see well. Whatever. I could have sat down and said, hey, I'm sorry about my left hip. I've got arthritis. And it would have just keep getting worse. Or I can say, yes, I do have arthritis, but that is no excuse. I need to work that hip. That's the truth. I need to work that hip enough that I get that. I'm still working on my, I get edema. For those of you who know what that is, that's when your body puffs up. I'm still working on that, and I'm trying at lots of different things because I don't want to keep taking the diuretics every day. But, I may need to. Yeah, Nyasha, I think it's important to not let things get out of control. And so your dad can stop things. He probably doesn't do it the best way, but he doesn't like to see it get out of control. All right. He wants things to remain respectful and in control. So, you can learn from him or ask him, how does he do it? One of the greatest ways is to ask an adult, what do they do when that happens to them? It's very interesting to hear some of the answers. There won't necessarily be a right one, but it's interesting to hear. How many of you have used this excuse? I don't have enough money. I find this one really interesting. Now, with the COVID-19 thing going on, that could be factual. I understand that. But I'm talking about, in your normal life, we make choices. And 9 times out of 10, the reason we don't have enough money is we're spending too much. We're not living within our means. We're not living within our means and saving. One of the things I always respect of Jody and Lionel, all right? Jody is on disability, and Lionel gave up his job to support Jody while she went through cancer. And so to me, they have every excuse not to have enough money. But I noticed that Jody really juggles those balls really well. Do you know what I mean? She knows that I can get things, but it means I've got to change my eating habits, right? So that I can afford this, and I need to save for a few months. You see, that is intelligent. All right, so Nyasha's saying about her father, but sometimes he ignores me and goes away. To me, all he cares about is his reputation in being respected. He doesn't give it to others, though. He demands it and wants to maintain it. It's quite normal. So, you could even say to him, do I hear you say that you want me to respect you more? Call it for what it is. And if he says exactly, and you go, yep, I feel the same way. I would love for you to respect me more too. So let's both work on it and then leave. You don't have to be rude. All right, so Nash is saying he'll say something like, something is really wrong with you. What does that mean? That means that you are not doing what he wants you to do. You are answering him back, and he sees that as irresponsible and disrespectful. But he forgets that you're an adult and you have the right not to. I think sometimes you need to say to him, "Is it okay to agree to disagree on this?" And he's going to say no, and you go, "But I'm also an adult." All right. So, as an adult, do I have to agree with everything that you think? Now, the chances are that could blow it up a bit more, but think about that. Sometimes it's up to us as adults to help our parents, but the truth is, he's probably not going to change. Yeah, sure. And as long as you live under their roof, you are going to have to bite the bullet on some of these things. You know what I mean? You're just going to have to understand that some things are not going to change, but you can change, and that is the amazing thing. Think about it. Think about, have you ever read or listened to the stories of Helen Keller? Yeah, sure. Because Helen Keller had every reason to be scared and to be angry and to be, she was in the war. She was locked up in an attic. She was blind. She had so many reasons to hate the world and the people in it. And, when you read her stuff, it is amazing, her attitude towards life. And I would recommend that they've put her words onto ebooks and things, not ebooks, but what do you call them? The podcasts and things, so that you can hear her thinking. And I would really encourage you, if you haven't already done it, to study a lot of what Helen Keller talked about, because she really had some incredible vision about how to cope with unbelievable pressure that she could not get away from. All right, how about when I was looking at what needed to happen in my shower, could I have said, I don't know how to cook? I don't know how to cook, use silicone cork, I could say that. That could be my excuse. And I can't get anybody in because of COVID. So, yeah, I could use that excuse. Or I could say, I haven't bothered to go online and find out, and I'm not brave enough to try it. Which is the truth. Jeannie's saying, in my family, my brother always blamed me. He was almost 12 years older. All those years, I still find myself blaming myself. But my husband tells me to change this scenario. Yeah, exactly. You know who relates to that is Pat. Pat's got a family that blamed her for everything. And, you know, she's really learned how to deal with them now. Okay, but Nyasha is, you know, what you're doing is you're telling the truth now. All right. You can see that answering him, you know, when he says, I'm going to throw you out, you're going, okay, go ahead. That's not the truth. You don't want him to do that. You go ahead, I don't care. That, you know, quite honestly, that's not the truth. And, you know, Nyasha's owning it and she's saying, I know that was disrespectful, but I was just fed up of him not listening to me. That's the excuse. I was fed up. That gives me the right to be disrespectful. I'm saying, no, that is a loss of control. All right. And his threatening to throw you out is a loss of control as well. How many mothers have you heard say words like, I brought you into this life and I can take you on? You know? No, Nyasha. Nyasha, don't apologize to me. Apologize next time you lose control. And just say, I am so sorry. I lost control for a second. All right? But you're just owning your stuff. Jeannie's saying you did nothing wrong. What I'm saying is at least own your bad behavior. All right? The thing we're apologizing for is the rudeness that we do and try to blame it on them. It is words that are causing this and your interpretation of it. Yeah, exactly. That's why you need to keep your mouth shut, honey. Thank you for your opinion. I'll give that some thought. Well, he will feel quite respected if you say that. Right? So, you know, I have people I have people tell me the truth. People I really care about tell me the truth, and I don't like it. And I go, well, at least I want to thank you for telling me the truth. I may not like it. You know, how many times have I asked permission here to hit somebody with a 2x4, right? Because I think they need to hear some truth, but I know it's going to hurt. So therefore, I will say, do I have your permission? And to, you know, to give them a heads up that I'm about to say something that I believe may be true. Now, does that mean that I am right? Not necessarily. No, exactly, Jeannie. Thank you. Okay. Jeannie's saying, what I meant is that Nyasha telling this, talking about this is not wrong. You bet it's not wrong. It is so important, Nyasha. That is why we get together, is to find better ways to do things, honey. That's the whole reason this group is here. All right. Is to tell their truth. All right. And then to be able to work through it. How embarrassing is it for Jody to say, I don't record my numbers when they're bad? You know, it's pretty embarrassing. But, you know, she can see now that she's not helping herself by doing that. She just doesn't want to see that truth. So that doesn't mean that Jody is stupid or whatever. It just means she's fearful. Remember what we said at the beginning. Excuses and blame are about fear. And that's what you need to remember. All right, now listen to this for violence, all right? Nyasha's saying, how would you handle this situation? For example, somebody slamming the door in your face. When he did that, I proceeded to open the door. He slapped me. And that's when I did what I did. Well, you see, by opening the door, you put more oil on the fire. All right? And now he's saying he did it, he caused it, not me. His method of correcting someone when they get out of line is to slap them. Because his daddy probably did the same to him. That's what monkey see, monkey do, right? If his father corrected him by slapping him, it is very likely that he will do the same. That's not a good excuse, but it is reality. Nyasha, had you not opened the door, you wouldn't got slapped. Think about that. You, by opening the door and probably glaring at him, he saw that as the ultimate disrespect, regardless of the fact that he had been rude to you by slamming the door because he lost control. What I want you to see is that is his stuff. Slamming the door is his lack of control. You don't have to go to that level. You know better now. You know, there's a story that's told, Nyasha, if I can give you a parable, if you like, on this one. There's a story that's told about, you know, most people, when in the old days in England, we always used to eat lamb, you know, because lamb is something that we eat a lot of, you know, in England, or we did when I lived there. And, you know, the funny thing is when you buy a leg of lamb, 9 times out of 10, the leg portion, the bone is cut and folded over. And, you know, for the longest time, people didn't understand why. And the reason was that originally somebody didn't have a pan big enough to take the whole leg, so they chopped the leg, you know, the bone, and folded it so that they could cook, but they still wanted the marrow out of the bone and everything. And so, you know, what happens is these traditions carry on. So, you know, it's very possible that your daddy had doors slammed in his face, you know, when his daddy lost control, and his great granddaddy did the same thing. The trick is, don't teach a godchild. That's how you deal with anger. Yeah, right. And you're right, Nyasha. Do not encourage or allow anybody to slap you. I understand that. All right. And had you not opened the door on him, you wouldn't have done. See, you actually, if you think about it, he was already angry and you reopened that door and probably glared at him. And that's when he lost, he first of all lost control when he slammed the door. But when you then challenged him, that made it even more disrespectful to him. And that's why he slapped you, because he didn't know what else to do. So do you understand? I understand your reasoning, but it doesn't make it right. You were party to this, Nyasha, when you opened the door again. You didn't have to go crawl to your bed and cry either. Right? You could just choose not to open that door and make it worse. That is the point that I'm making. He is not going to change necessarily. I don't think, you know, that he's going to do the work. So you need to find a different way. Challenging him like that is going to lead to more violence, and you don't want violence. By the way, here's an interesting one. You know, I nurtured those tomato plants so beautifully, the seedlings, and then I planted them in my garden. Well, I planted 10, and the slugs ate all 10. Should I be blaming the slugs for eating my tomato plants? Think about that one. What is the correct truth of that situation? You know, the first day I went out there, I can't believe that the slugs have eaten my tomato plant, the first one. And then the second one went. Obviously, they enjoy tomato plants. And, you know, then the third and the fourth, you know, every day I went out there and, you know, it was just like, and then they had beans as well. My bean seedlings went. So after everything that I had worked so hard to grow had been, they don't like radishes as much. They do like them a bit, but not as much. But once all of them went, I went, maybe I'm doing something wrong. So Jeannie's saying no bad slugs. Are you saying no bad slugs? No, I disagree. Bad Sal. Why? I am not letting my seedlings grow big enough to be strong enough not to be eaten by the slugs. You see, if they're well established, the slugs won't be eating them. They are only eating them because they're weaklings. I worked that out after losing all my seedlings, just about. Learning moment. Now my seedlings are going to get big and strong. Yeah, Jeannie's saying now you have to find a way of getting rid of them. Not necessarily. I think slugs have every right to be alive in the world because God put them there. So my attitude is not to get rid of them necessarily, but to not make, not be the catering service, or give them something else to eat. I'm going to be doing some more research, Jeannie, but thank you. I've got a feeling they don't like cinnamon and things, but then, if it rains, you've got to go back and redo stuff like that. So it's still a work in progress. I'm still doing the research on that. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm not going to be blaming the slugs. I'm going to be blaming the person who put young seedlings out there before they were strong enough not to be eaten by the slugs. Makes sense? That is the difference, right? That's my change in thinking. Right? The thinking is not that the slugs are at fault. The slugs are just trying to eat. I get that. And guess what? Here I am, a la carte, munching, thanks to Sal. They're probably going, wow, I like this new owner of this house. They put out nice young seedlings that we can chomp on and slide over and break them. How kind. Instead of putting up a decent sized seedling and going, no way do you eat at my restaurant. So I'm getting a better sense of humor about these things. Jody, I am hoping Oh, Jeannie's saying you're too fair to the slugs. Really? Isabel, what do you want the name of, honey? Well, hi, Farmer. Good to see you. Farmer probably knows how to deter slugs. I think beer. Why do I think beer is a good way of deterring slugs? Why do I think that? That's come from way back when. And you're going, why would I waste good beer? Right? But I think they fall in and drown. I don't like that as much. There must be a more environmentally friendly way. Farmer, I was just saying that all my seedlings, I put them out too early and the slugs munched them all. It was said that peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Okay, so for Nyasha to find peace with her daddy, she needs to find peace with herself and find a better way. He's not going to change. How about this one? If you hang out with chickens, you're going to cluck. And if you hang out with eagles, you're going to fly. I was amazed. I got a magical call from Benji this week, and we spent over an hour on the phone. And the most wonderful thing about it was that he and I were, there was something going on, and what we did was we just went through all the possibilities and all the options and all the things that could, and at the end of it, he said, you are just such a wise person. And I went, no, really. My job is not to tell you what to do. You're going to do whatever you want to do. I can tell Nyasha not to fight back at her daddy, but I can't control that. All right. That's Nyasha to control that. I can't control that. And so you look at it and you go, this is like, I love it when somebody can do that, when they can go, okay, I think I've thought of all the ins and outs of it, but can I just run this by you again to see what I've forgotten? And, it was a wonderful conversation. And I am certain that 9 out of 10 options that I thought of, he'd already thought of at least. I know I found one that he hadn't because he reacted to it. But, it was like, that's what he made the call for. What haven't I thought about? All right. And it was just so magical. Yes, and Judy's saying Benji is ready to support the local farmers at the marketplace. Yeah, I think we all are looking for different ways. I'm actually waiting today for the delivery of my first friend rose. I said what I wanted to do was to turn my front yard into my friendship garden. And what I wanted to do was to get roses and peonies and actually have them associated with people. My first rose is about to arrive. Did I tell you about that? It's going to arrive today. Hang on a second. I just want to get you a picture of it if you haven't seen it. Okay. And this is the rose that I ordered up. It's called the Lady Gardener. Isn't it beautiful? Now, it's a very expensive rose. And my sister said to me, I'd like to buy you something for your garden. What would you like? And I knew exactly what I wanted. I want that rose. And so what's happening is that it's being delivered today. But it was interesting because, my sister was trying to order it from the States, and, they weren't being as efficient as she would be, right? And I'm just letting that be. That's her problem, not mine. I did write to her and say my experience of that particular nursery is I wrote to them, it took them 3 days to get back to me. It's not about you. It's about that's how they do things. Well, how do they run a business like that? I don't know. It's got nothing to do with me. All I know is they did get back to me. So if you're patient, they will get back to you, is my feeling. And they did. So do you understand? To me, I just am so appreciative to get the rose. So once, I'm not sure whether it's going to be flowering or not. So I may have to wait a year to see the blooms on it. But how many of you know I am dead scared that I'm going to kill this very expensive rose? It's a David Austin rose. I don't know if you guys know about that, but this guy David Austin has created a series of roses that are sort of pretty much resistant to everything. You know what I mean? And it is really important. Yeah, farmers saying that Australia has had less than 100 corona deaths, lifting some of the restrictions next week. Yes, and again, farmer, what I keep saying to people is they can reduce the restrictions, but that doesn't mean you have to go out. All right. If you still think that it's safer for you not to be out, they can lift the restrictions here. I still would not be going out unless I really needed to. Yes, Judy's saying from our Portland home, we had planted so many rose bushes. When we left, they dug up all the bushes. Had we known, we would have taken them with us. You know something? I'm going to edit a vlog, Jeannie. I went back to my previous home yesterday to pick something up. Yeah. I did a vlog because it definitely was important. Farmer, you know, I think it's amazing what New Zealand has done and what Australia has done. Yeah, so farmers telling me rose bushes need plenty of sunshine and water. All right, don't be afraid to water them daily. Okay, it's like tomatoes, right? Oh, slugs don't like crawling over wool. It's too itchy for them. That's the most humane way I've seen. Beer was mentioned, but you're right, they drown in it. Wow, now I know what to do with all my wool. I can just put a frame, right, of a couple of strands around the plantings. Brilliant, Jody. Thank you. And you know, I'm thinking bamboo sticks and just wind it around, and I can do that. Another experiment. I'll let you know. Actually, you know what I will do is I will do two plantings side by side of the same thing, and I will actually, I think that's so clever, Jody. I'm quite excited about that. Brené Brown said, vulnerability is the birthplace of love. Belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. If we want greater clarity in our purpose or deeper and more meaningful spiritual lives, vulnerability is the path. And how many of you realize that vulnerability is truth? All right. Jody may not like the figures that she knows she's going to get if she takes those tests. But the truth is, there's a reason why she fails them. And by the way, what did I have this week sometime, Jody? And I said to you, I don't want to see the figures tomorrow because I can't remember what I had, but it was so good. And then it so happened my blood sugar dropped the day before. It went up the following day, but the day after I had the bad stuff, it actually dropped. I was quite excited. And then the other day, next day came. So tell the truth to yourself. If you're not brave enough to tell it to anybody else, stop kidding yourself. Steve Maripoli also said, and he said that that the right thing to do and the hard thing to do are usually the same. You know, if I think about Nyasha's situation, the hardest thing in the world for her to do is not to react. But it is the right thing. Yes, Jody, you're right. It was cupcakes. But I have found a new trick, Jody. I am making almond flour muffins, right? I'm making muffins with almond flour and having them with some butter. And for some reason, that gives me the sweetness in the muffin, but I'm making it with almond flour, not with regular flour. And I'm throwing, you know, some raisins in there, you know, to give me the sweetness. So I'm learning. I'll get this down to a fine art. But you know, the good news was I didn't hit a week full of 8s or something. And you know, I cannot blame COVID for my eating. I can only look at myself. Bill Bullard said, opinion is really the lowest form of human knowledge. It requires no accountability, no understanding. The highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos and live in another's world. It requires profound purpose larger than the self kind of understanding. I think, Nyasha, you're doing a great job because you are learning. You may never get this right, but you are continuing to take steps. And for that, I applaud you. I really do. I know how difficult this is. All right, Jeannie's saying, I bought groceries today and I especially purchased a head of cabbage, broccolini, I love broccolini, radishes, tomatoes, and Brussels sprouts in order to get good vitamins. You know what I did yesterday, Jeannie? Okay, I took a bread pan and I did the same thing. I knew I need to increase my vegetable intake, all right, if I want to lower my blood sugar. So what I did is I started with bok choy at the bottom. That was like, okay, that's really important. It's a green leaf vegetable. But then I put 2 slices of marble cheese on top of that to make up for the bok choy. I then covered it with carrots, celery, mushrooms, and onions. And by the way, these red onions that I dried, I've done another onion because I want to tell you, why did I wait a lifetime to learn about doing this with onions? Not only are they an awesome snack, and I put nothing on them and they're so sweet, but also when I'm cooking now, instead of going and storing onions in the fridge, I'm now putting them overnight in the toaster oven, and then I just put them in here, and that means I can just sprinkle some onion whenever I want it. And it, I could taste the dried, the caramelized onion through the things. Anyway, so then I've got all those layers of vegetables, and then I made a cheese sauce just by mixing up a little bit of almond flour, because that's not going to spike my blood sugar as much. A little bit of almond flour, some milk, a little bit of chicken bisto just to give it a bit of thickness. And I poured that over the top. And then the final layer was turkey, I think 2 strips of turkey that I cooked, and I cut it up into strips and put it on the top. And then I covered it and baked it for an hour at 350. Now, it was 90% vegetables. I want to tell you, I had the first half and it was so good. I had to go back for the second. I literally ate that much. But, it was just like, it was so tasty. And so I agree with you, Jeannie. We need to find ways to improve our diets. It's not the COVID-19 that's causing us the problem. It's what we're putting into our bodies, right? So I was really glad to find that out. Right, so you can't use almond flour or almond butter. Not a problem. Can you use coconut flour? Can you use, think what you remember what I always say, Jeannie? Don't go for what you can't do. Just go, okay, I know I can't have almonds, but maybe, oh, wait a minute, coconut's still a nut. All right, so, well, use regular flour. If you don't have the problems that I have with blood sugar, but, so, or You know what really works well, Jeannie, from my experience? A can of mushroom soup over anything. You know? Get some condensed mushroom soup and just pour it over the top. It'll be wonderful. Now listen to this one, because I think this, it's not butter, it's flour that I'm talking about. I'm inclined to use almond flour rather than regular flour now. Jody taught me that. Right, so if you can have coconut butter, then you can also have coconut flour. Or make, or grind up your oatmeal and have oat flour. Make a cheese sauce with oat flour would also work. You don't need very much. Just something to make a cheese sauce. Love mushrooms. I also did that with mushrooms. And by the way, I also did carrots. I haven't tried them yet, but I literally, dehydrated the mushrooms overnight in my toaster oven as well. And that's what I'm starting to do. Ordering the vegetables, keeping some of it fresh, but the rest I am chopping up and now making sure that I've got them dehydrated for. I don't know if you've noticed, the prices of stuff is already going up. They are really, already the meat crisis is starting. So be aware, if you haven't bought meat in cans, do it. Yeah, mushrooms in wine. And by the way, if you haven't got wine for any reason, I find that balsamic vinegar works really well. Whenever I want to add wine, but I don't happen to have any, I will just put balsamic vinegar in there and it's get the same taste. You don't have to worry about burning bridges if you're building your own. Think about that. One of the things that I realized when I did the move, I was going to lose out on my circle of friends, that I had downstairs. I had this little family of friends living downstairs. And what I had to remind myself of was that, I make friends pretty easily because I'm interested in people. So I make friends pretty well. But then as soon as I got here, basically we had the shutdown. So how am I managing to make friends when we've got the shutdown? Well, I was out in my back garden yesterday, talking to the slugs. And my neighbors from this side were out in their back garden. And then the neighbor from the other side of them was also out. And all four of us were out in the back garden. I know what you're saying. Yeah, he is single, the guy two down. But anyway, so the interesting thing was all four of us were probably 10 feet apart minimum, and we were having this great conversation. And I realized that's what we're going to do. I had a friend of mine write to me and saying, we're thinking about coming to visit and stay socially distant. And I said, hey, if you're at all concerned about that, why don't we just do it on the internet? Why don't we just grab a coffee? We'll agree to meet, but we'll do it via the internet. And I'm thinking, I can do this. I can still have friends. I'm not going to blame the COVID-19 for the fact that I can't talk to my friends or whatever. That's all excuses. It's how you want to do it that's important. Mahatma Gandhi said, it is wrong and immoral to escape the consequences of one's acts. There you go. It is wrong and immoral to seek to escape from the consequences of one's acts. So if we do something that triggers another person, we are not responsible for the fact that they triggered. We are responsible for what we did to create the trigger. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was wrong, but you understand the accountability there. David Brin said, when it comes to privacy, or privacy, depending which country you're in, and accountability, people always demand the former for themselves and the latter for everybody else. I'll read that again because you've got to think about that. When it comes to privacy and accountability, people always demand the former for themselves. In other words, we demand privacy, but we demand accountability from other people. Interesting. Now, we heard Nyasha say that she's, it's not good for anybody to slap her. Absolutely. We know that. And, you also can see, Nyasha, that if that is what, just because his daddy did that to him doesn't make it right that he does it to you. But, it's like smoking. The reason that we all smoked was because we watched our parents do it. And then now, I don't know about you, but how many people smoke now? Wherever you are, I don't know. But I know that one of the things my brother said when he was visiting last time was, boy, it's amazing to see how few smokers there are. And in fact, on the last visit, he said he didn't think he saw one person smoking during the week that he was with me. And I said, you know something? I actually find when I walk around the community, every now and then I'll go, okay, we got a smoker there. And then I'll go, we've got a serious smoker there. Just by walking along the road outside their houses. Isn't that amazing? That's how much my sense of smell has improved. Well, listen to this one. Thomas Paine said, a body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody. Think about that one. Do we have a body of men at the moment holding themselves accountable to nobody? We have to endure the discordance between imagination and fact. It is better to say I am suffering than to say the landscape is ugly. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? It is better to say I am suffering. I'm trying to think, when Nyasha's daddy slammed the door, if there's any way that Nyasha could have taken a deep breath and been able to say, I am sorry you are so angry, but not open the door. And to stand tall, because I am sorry you are so angry. Doesn't mean that I have to be angry. Isn't, if we can all hold Nyasha dear in that and pray for her to get that ability. All right, Nyasha saying, I'm not going to do it anymore, despite he did it to me. I promised myself back then to have the same qualities as my parents, not to have the same qualities. Okay, the link stops with me. Yeah, instead, I'm going to be explaining to them why. They might not want to hear that. What they are doing wrong should not be done. Yes, but it's not that they can even see that it's wrong. Do you understand that, Nyasha? Have empathy for them. They do not see that to be wrong. It just, they were not allowed to answer back to their parents, right? That was not allowed in how they grew up. And so when you answer them back, that triggers them big time. It is totally disrespectful on their scale. And that's why I'm asking you, don't be rude back to them. Just say something like, thank you for telling me your truth, or I'm sorry I'm sorry you are angry, right? It's not about you, it's about them. And when you can stand the other side of that slam door and take a breath and say, Daddy, I love you, and I am so sorry you are angry, and not take on his anger, you will be able to go, I think I've got it now. Right? And then you will not hold it together one day and you'll go, oops, but that doesn't mean I failed. It means I need a bit more practice. All right. And the same thing, Jody is not going to fail to tell herself the truth about her blood sugar, right? Because now I know I'm going to hold her accountable if she wants me to. Or I'm just going to go, what's your reason for not giving me your blood sugar? And she'll tell me I've run out of strips or something. And what does that mean? That means, okay. So everybody, I hope that you have got some better idea about this. Yeah. Jeannie is saying you have learned a great thing. Now change your own behavior. Yeah, you were doing so well. I'm pretty certain that's to Nyasha, and I agree with you. I think Nyasha's been taking some great steps. And, she is really an example for us all as to, I can remember being where Nyasha's in, right? I can remember that. I can remember blaming every one of my loss of control actions on the other person. I can remember that so well. And now when, Nyasha, I need you to know, I still lose it every now and then. The difference is I go, whoops, my stuff, not theirs. If I lost it, that's my stuff. What they did to cause it is their stuff, but my stuff is that I reacted to it. And I actually laugh about it now, Nyasha. I have a point system, all right? And I go, so-and-so gets a point. I didn't get one today. Valentine's Day is 9 months and 18 days away. Let's think about love. Isn't that beautiful? Christmas, 237 days away. You've got 7 months and 4 days to get your overseas Christmas cards in the mail. And it's going to come about so quickly, you're going to go, yikes, Sally's been telling us that all year. How come I haven't done it yet? US Thanksgiving is just 6 months and 29 days away. And we Canadians only have 5 months and 14 days because we have ours earlier. In the US, you've got another 2 months and 15 days. I don't think they've extended the tax thing yet. And I'm certain Jody will let us know if they have. And in Canada, we've only got a month and I've done diddly. Okay. Summer is only 49 days away and actually an 18 hours in North America. But if you're south of the equator, winter is only 49 days away. So make sure fall. Sorry, fall. It's only, no, winter. You're already in fall, right? South of the equator. Because we're in spring, you're already in fall. Wow, that's amazing. So I thought I'd remind you that I moved a season ago. I've been here for a whole season, and in fact, a season and 3 weeks. And I have learned a lot in that time. And I have got to the stage, for those of you who followed the move, I have got to the stage where I am now pulling boxes out of the studio and putting them on the floor in the art room, in the craft room, because I can. I've cleared enough room in the craft area that I can now bring boxes out of the studio And why do I need to do that? Because I need boxes out so I can start organizing the studio. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it, Jenny, that I've been here for a whole season. And it was so strange. What I realized was that you remember that when I bought the place, I asked them to leave that futon, which had that beautiful sort of wren egg color cover to it, that very pale turquoisey blue. And it looks great. The only thing was that I realized I sit on that all day long and I am going to destroy that. So what I did is I decided, to not be upset with that. One of the things I did is I went and got some pillows strong pillows to put underneath my heavy seat. And then I bought a cover to go over it so that I can take that cover off and wash it. But I bought the color in a sort of maroon red to go with the rest of my furniture that is in the living room. And I will take a picture of that and show you. By the way, for those of you who want to know, tonight I'm going to try and do the broadcast on Messenger. So if you'd like to be on camera, two things. Number one, put your makeup on if that's what you need to do. And number two, would you please also make sure you got headphones so that, we're not getting the echo. And I will send you notification when we're going to do it, right? So Sandy's saying, this self-isolation has been great for those who moved. My good friend has been able to get her house all put together because there were no life distractions. I am getting there. Obviously, I bought way too much with me. And then I still have the whole of the storage shed behind to clear. But a lot of that stuff will probably stay exactly where it is. I am now seriously considering changing my plan and actually turning the studio into a spare room, because I realize I am probably going to paint on here. I really have not had time. No, I haven't made time to paint. But I do know that the time that I did it here. I didn't want to be in a back room. I wanted all this light and everything here. And so what I'm thinking is that I will probably find tidy ways to store my paints in my craft room. That's what I'm busy working on. What do I need to do to be able to store all this tidily? And I'm thinking maybe get one of those fancy cupboards, that store a lot of things, an armoire type thing, but, made for painters. But I'm busy not discounting, actually turning that back into a bedroom. And I will only know that once I've got it emptied. I've got a desk in there at the moment, but again, that can come back out and go in the craft room. I've got plenty of room. So we will see. Yes, so tonight what we will do is we will do an experiment on Messenger, and I'm just going to try it on my regular Messenger, because I think anybody that's got my link will be advised. Anybody that's got me on Messenger will be advised. So make sure that you are, what do I need to say here? Make sure that you have given me permission to be on Messenger. It's on Facebook Messenger, Nyasha. So do you have Facebook? So what I do need you to do, though, is to have contact with me on Facebook. All right. Messenger. All right. If you have sent me a message on Facebook, via their messaging system, then you are okay. If you haven't, then you need to send me one this afternoon so I can include you on that. Now, what I'm going to do is just try and do it on Facebook and see who can get to it. There is a possibility that an awful lot of people will be able to get to it. So I just want to see what happens. If we hit a problem, I will probably move over back to YouTube. Make sense? And just start up a YouTube thing. You don't need to go live. Nobody, Nash's saying, I still don't want to go live. Nobody has to go live. Nobody has to talk. I think you can still type when you're doing that. You can just have voice, so you don't need to put your makeup on or do your hair or whatever it is. You can choose not to put your camera on. All I'm asking is that if you're going to talk or in any way use a microphone, please make sure that you've got earphones on so we're not getting the replay of my voice coming through your computer. Yeah, you can have just voice or do whatever. And if you come in just voice, I think it will show the picture that you have on your regular messenger icon. And so if that's good, it's obviously good enough that you've got it on as your messenger picture. So, that's the way I look at it. But I will be doing the experiment. And if it doesn't work, I'll move to YouTube. And if it does work, we'll probably do the whole broadcast there. Just this time, I want people to be able to see each other if they can, even if it's the picture of the icon or whatever. And, if we can hear each other's voices, that's nice. But I probably won't be able to understand everybody. I know I always have a problem with Erin, for example. Erin talks at a voice tone that I can't hear. And so if Erin comes in, I might need somebody to help me with what she says. Yeah, that's good, Nyasha. Just make a plan. It's an experiment, right? Be prepared to fail. I am. But if we don't try it, we won't know how to do it. Make sense? And if necessary, we will, maybe go to Zoom or something and try it there. But I think we can probably do it on Messenger, so why? Now, the only thing that I'm thinking about is I have quite a lot of people who have my name on Messenger. Therefore, we could have all sorts of people join in. And I don't know how many people are allowed to go up on camera, but we'll find out, all right? So don't be upset if all sorts of people that you don't know suddenly join in. Mind you, if it's just us as usual, then we'll be fine, all right? And wish me luck. Hopefully by the time I do that broadcast this evening, my rose will have arrived, in which case I will show it to you. Even if it's not blooming, I'll put it here so you can see it and know that it arrived. All right. In the meantime, great work, everybody. Do you understand our job this week is to concentrate on not giving excuses and not blaming anybody else for our actions? We are accountable. We need to tell ourselves the truth, and if we do, we will be happier. Yeah. So I haven't tried Zoom either, Nyasha. So that's this week. We're going to just do it on Messenger. Quite honestly, I won't be doing it every week. I just want to do it once or twice, just so people can see what everybody looks like, and then we'll just go back. All right, everybody. I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a difficult subject because it's not something we necessarily want to own. But when you can own it, you will be happier. That is my experience. I am happier today because I don't blame everybody else all the time. I know if the slugs are eating my seedlings, I either need to find out how to do that thing with the wool. By the way, Jody, does it have to be wool, or can it be acrylic? Then I just realized a lot of my wool is acrylic. So we'll find out, right? So I send you big hugs and great work. I'm really proud of you all for being here. This is really important stuff. I don't have any major updates on anybody that I know of. Steel wool, yeah, that would be an awful lot of steel wool. I'm thinking wool is I'll try it. Baby wool will be great because that's really fluffy, like almost the Chanel type fluffy. But I think it's a brilliant idea, Jody. How come I never thought of that? You know what I'm going to be doing this afternoon? No, I've got to wait for the rose first, and then I'll do it. Or tomorrow. This is DearMamaSal saying, let's stay accountable. Let's stop the excuses as far as we can. Let us stop blaming others as far as we can. But let us also have sympathy and empathy. And when we do it, forgive ourselves. And by the way, one last thought on this one. If you listen to somebody giving you an excuse that you're pretty sure is not the truth, remember the days when you did it. And when you hear somebody blaming somebody else, have sadness for them that they haven't learned not to blame yet. It doesn't mean that they're stupid. It means that they haven't learned that lesson yet. But hopefully your example of not blaming others will rub off on them. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you for being here. We'll see you tonight for a laugh. And this is time for me to say bye-bye for now. Look after one another. But please remember, more than anything else, start by looking after yourself.